Well, the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, will on Thursday speak on the Ghanaian economy at a party youth event of the governing New Patriotic Party. The economy has over the last few months seen fuel price hikes, increase in prices of goods on the market, and the depreciation of the cedi, which have led to heightened calls for the Vice President and head of government's economic management team to address these issues publicly. Many also criticize the Vice President for keeping silent on the controversial e-levy, which he was opposed to before he became Vice President, or actually the MPP was voted into power. Well, so as expected, quite clearly, there's much anticipation ahead of the Vice President's upcoming engagement where he's expected to speak. But really, what is he going to be talking about? Is he going to address the e-levy and his loud silence on the state of the economy? Is he going to break that tomorrow? Let's engage Dr. Kabiru Mahama. He is an economic policy advisor at the Office of Vice President. He joins us via Zoom. Good evening to you, Dr. Mahama.
Good evening, Alfred.
So, the Vice President's loud silence about the state of the economy is quite clear. Is he going to be breaking that silence tomorrow?
Thank you very much, and good evening once again to your listeners. As you noted, the Vice President has been working, and in working, when there is no need to talk, he doesn't need to talk. But calls by Ghanaians that he should speak to the issues of the economy has necessitated the speech he will be making tomorrow. He's going to use a party event, the TESCOM program, to address some of the fundamental issues with Ghanaian economy. So the Vice President, as you mentioned, will be speaking tomorrow at 3 o'clock sharp at Kaswa Yesikun. So he would address issues of the economy.
I see. But you have been planning with him. I know that you've been in meetings with him ahead of his address tomorrow. Is he going to speak about the e-levy that he was against before coming to office as Vice President?
Yeah, the Vice President is speaking on the economy, and the economy, the e-levy is part of the economy. But we must know that the Vice President is a member of a government, as at the same time, an individual. We should also posit it in the context that his comments prior to the passage of the e-levy will not be the same as his comments after the passage of the e-levy. So the context of which might vary, but it is clear that the Vice President will be speaking. He would touch on the e-levy, and he would speak to that issue, including the broader issue of the economy.
So what you're saying is that his position is going to change or has changed about taxing mobile money?
The Vice President's position has not changed. I have not said the Vice President's position will change. I have not said that the Vice President's position is different from what he's actually stood for. What I'm just saying is that the Vice President is going to speak on the e-levy, and when he speaks, we'll know what his stance on the e-levy is.
But what's quite clear, that was what I was asking, whether he still stands by that position earlier, that indeed he is against taxing mobile money, or because he's a member of a government.
As I mentioned, Alfred, the Vice President, the Vice President is going to speak tomorrow. He's going to talk on the economy, and he's going to touch on the e-levy. What he's going to say tomorrow, I think I should not let the cat out of the bag. Let us meet tomorrow, and then we will listen to the Vice President.
But let me find out this. I mean, the President spoke about the economy in the State of the Nation address about a week ago. So what's the Vice President going to say differently tomorrow?
Yeah, so probably I wouldn't have even expected Ghanaians to want the Vice President to speak, because the Vice President speaking next to the Finance Minister, also speaking to the President, wouldn't have been necessary. But it also means that there is some confidence Ghanaians are having in the Vice President. It also means that they want the head of the economic management team to also speak. So he will be speaking, but of course, in a quite different tangent. He wants to address the questions of Ghanaians, the everyday questions of Ghanaians. He's going to speak to the concerns of Ghanaians about the conditions of their lives, their livelihood. He's going to speak to Ghanaians about prices. He's going to speak to Ghanaians about the divorce. He's going to speak to Ghanaians about the future. So basically, this is what is probably going to be different from what has been spoken about by the president and then the finance minister.
I'll tell you why the Ghanaian people were expecting him to speak. He's the chair of the economic management team. He held a number of engagements about the state of the economy prior to the election. So it's just only right that the Ghanaian people would expect him to speak about the state of affairs.
Yeah, I mean, we acknowledge that. And I mean, I'm the first person to acknowledge that the vice president is only right to speak on the economy. But when you ask a question, what is going to say differently? I think that I need to also posit, and I've actually articulated what he's going to say differently. He's going to speak to the ordinary Ghanaian. He's going to address the ordinary questions of Ghanaians on the Ghanaian economy. And that is going to be the focus of his address.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Dr. Kabiru Mahama, I thank you. He is an economic
much.
policy advisor at the Office of the Vice President.